Star Wars Eclipse is currently a title shrouded in mystery. The Star Wars video game slate has expanded in recent years, and with upcoming releases like Star Wars Outlaws, there's never been a better time to be a fan of the galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Eclipse is clearly aiming to be a completely unique title in the universe, although it's pulling some of its inspiration from past entries. The development process continues to move forward, and although there are still challenges to overcome that could delay the game's release, Eclipse is set to be a big part of Disney and Lucasfilm's ever-growing canon. Star Wars Eclipse is a story-centric adventure game set in the iconic universe of the blockbuster sci-fi franchise. In development at Quantic Dream, the studio behind Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. Star Wars Eclipse promises a choice-driven experience full of new characters and environments. Despite being in the early stages of development, we already know several pieces of key information about the title. For starters, it's been confirmed that Star Wars Eclipse will be set during the High Republic era, 200 years before the movies. This period in Star Wars history was a golden age for the Republic, where Jedi traveled the galaxy and kept order on the frontier. As you'd expect from a Quantic Dream title, Star Wars Eclipse will include branching narratives where player actions ripple through the story, often with big consequences. What's more, we know that Star Wars Eclipse is going in a more action-oriented direction than previous Quantic Dream offerings. Though we don't quite know what these more action-based game mechanics might be, it's clear that we're in for a new take on the traditional formula employed by the studio. As of now, no release date has been revealed for Star Wars Eclipse. There were suggestions that Lucasfilm delayed the release, but with no announced time frame, the title hasn't technically been pushed back. There's no news on Star Wars Eclipse arriving in 2023. 2024 is an unrealistic prediction, despite the potential benefits of releasing the Acolyte and Eclipse in the same year. Players should be looking to 2025 at the very least, but Star Wars Outlaws will fill Lucasfilm's release schedule in the meantime. While described as in early development at the Game Awards, reports emerged towards the end of 2021 that suggested Star Wars Eclipse is apparently at least 3 to 4 years away from launch. Quantic Dream went on to respond to the reports to reaffirm that there have been no delays since no launch date has been confirmed. Unfortunately, Quantic Dream seems to be a little too early in the development of Star Wars Eclipse to provide a solid release date. If development is still in its primary stages, we reckon we're probably not going to see Star Wars Eclipse on virtual or literal store shelves for at least another few years. Shortly after the game's announcement, industry insider Tom Henderson tweeted to say that he expects the game is at minimum around 3 to 4 years away. In March 2022, however, he went on to report that an internal delay might have taken place and that we could be looking at a 2027 to 2028 release window. Speaking about delay rumors, Quantic Dream said, Star Wars Eclipse has not been delayed because Quantic Dream never announced or promised a launch window for the title. Without a publicly announced release window or date given by Quantic Dream, it's difficult to know if Star Wars Eclipse has been delayed internally, or when we'll get our hands on it. A few years seems like a safe bet. Platforms haven't been confirmed yet either, but we expect Star Wars Eclipse to land on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC at the very least. Given how far off this is, there's practically no chance it'll come to last-general consoles like PS4 and Xbox One. There's little to go on beyond that at present, but, given Quantic Dream's past projects, we expect Star Wars Eclipse to feature on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X at a minimum, with the developer promising a game that can be experienced in many ways, and puts the destinies of multiple playable characters in your hands. Star Wars Eclipse is to be the first game, set in an uncharted region of the Outer Rim during the High Republic era, known as the Golden Age of the Jedi, Quantic Dream's press release notes. The High Republic era takes place hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga, back when the Galactic Republic was said to be at its height. We currently don't know how exactly Quantic Dream plans to explore this lesser-known aspect of the Star Wars universe. But we do know that we'll be taking control of multiple characters over the course of the story, as is usually the case with Quantic Dream's games. Given the developer, expect an assortment of branching paths to play out based on your choices in the narrative. That will likely shift the story dramatically, including whatever the eventual ending will look like. Star Wars Eclipse is an original Star Wars story. It's set to take us to an uncharted region of the Outer Rim during the High Republic era, known as the Golden Age of the Jedi. That means we'll be heading back hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga, to a time where Jedi and the Galactic Republic was at its most powerful. Quantic Dream says we should expect to find all new characters and environments to the Star Wars franchise, including never-before-seen species and planets to discover. The studio adds, this part of the Outer Rim is rife with opportunity and political tensions that could alter the fabric of peace. What will you do? We could also be meeting a brand new type of alien, according to a report in 2022. That level of choice will be key to the Star Wars Eclipse story, particularly as it will allow us to see the galaxy through the eyes of an ensemble cast of multiple, charismatic playable characters, each with their own morality, personality, motivations, and impact upon each other and the story at large. Encouraged to weave a tapestry of interlaced destinies, it's sounding like classic Quantic already. Every decision you make can have dramatic repercussions on your journey, Quantic Dream adds in a press release. The way of life in the Outer Rim is being threatened and you must define your path. While we are yet to see Star Wars Eclipse gameplay, Quantic Dream did release a rather gorgeous in-engine teaser. And from that, the studio has given us a bunch of extremely beautiful Star Wars Eclipse screenshots, showing off everything from Jedi battles to space exploration and so much more. In an interview with IGN at Tokyo Game Show 2023, Vice President of Marketing at Quantic Dream, Lisa Payne-Say revealed that, "There's no game over, anyone can die, anything can happen and the story continues." Payne-Say also made it clear that Star Wars Eclipse is actually an action-adventure game that has all the elements you would come to expect and want from a Quantic Dream title. Quantic Dream CEO Guillaume de Fondomier has stated that Star Wars Eclipse won't feel too dissimilar to its previous games. In an interview with IGN Japan in September 2022, he stated, "I think with each new title we try to innovate, we try to explore new ground. With Star Wars Eclipse we are certainly going to keep the fundamental elements of a Quantic Dream game, very strong story, very strong characters, multiple playable characters, and of course, giving the players the possibility to change, through their actions and decisions, how the story unfolds." Quantic Dream, the studio behind Star Wars Eclipse, has recently debunked reports of a delay on the game. In March 2022, X-Files' Tom Henderson published a report claiming that the game, which he initially estimated to be 3 to 4 years away, could be looking at a 2027 to 2028 release window after an internal delay. Henderson said in the report that the studio is struggling to attract developer talent to help create the game, pointing to repeated job postings. In a press release published in the same month, however, Quantic Dream stated that it's serenely carrying on the distinct development of its 3 in-house productions. Now that the pre-production and prototyping phases have been achieved, 2022 will mark a new progression milestone in the production phases of these 3 unique titles. Disney has decided to move forward with Quantic Dream for this Star Wars video game. Belonging to parent company NetEase Inc., Quantic Games has an impressive array of titles including Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, and Heavy Rain. Intriguingly, Quantic Dream has been linked to a new studio in North America to help with the development workload of Star Wars Eclipse. The title will be published and overseen by Lucasfilm, who have also opened up their video game division to encourage further collaboration across their different projects. Despite some of the mistakes of Lucasfilm's past, the studio has its own catalog of great games behind it. The High Republic initiative represents a huge push from Lucasfilm to cement a new era in the Star Wars timeline. While the company has chosen to tell a majority of this era's stories through comics and novels, shows like The Acolyte are set to expand the High Republic period further, along with Star Wars Eclipse. That means the game will likely be focused around the Jedi, as this era represented the height of the Order and the Republic itself. This is a time that's defined by the absence of the Sith and the arrival of the Nihil. Tragic disasters shape the politics of the galaxy, but there is hope throughout for an even brighter tomorrow, which the patrolling Jedi represent. These themes will likely play into Eclipse's story. Star Wars Eclipse's website confirmed that the ambitious title will not just have one playable character. Instead, players will take on the destiny of a diverse cast, each with their own ideology. Star Wars has always benefited from ensemble casts, and there have been very few games thus far that take advantage of that franchise trope. These characters' lives will weave into one another, like a rich tapestry. From a game design perspective, this sounds like an incredibly complex concept to execute. Star Wars Eclipse looks to be taking a leaf out of Knights of the Old Republic's book, which is one of the best franchises in the property's history. Just like the classic MMORPG, which will be getting a remake, Eclipse will allow the player to make key choices that will impact their adventure. As the player jumps between characters in Star Wars Eclipse, they'll decide what to do in a number of narrative scenarios, each of which can have consequences for the wider cast of playable figures. It's a concept that extends beyond what KOTOR did, and allows the player to genuinely forge their own universe. Star Wars Eclipse's promotional material has mentioned the Outer Rim repeatedly. Other Star Wars games have been set right in the center of the galaxy so that players can explore familiar worlds, but the Outer Rim offers players a brand new set of planets and species to uncover. The Outer Rim has always been a mysterious location in Star Wars. The Republic's influence over these territories has been limited. The High Republic era was especially fraught with dangers coming from the Outer Rim, so it's intriguing to see Eclipse play into the beats that the rest of the initiative has explored. Star Wars fans will already be familiar with planets like Naboo, Kamino, Mandalore, and Batuu in the Outer Rim. Politics have always played a massive role in Star Wars lore, with the leaders of the Empire or the Republic defining the galaxy. The High Republic was still a period of tension politically, with many looking to overthrow the dominance of the sitting regime. The descriptions for Star Wars Eclipse have noted that the Outer Rim's political tensions will be influential to the narrative. There are crime lords, warlords, fascists, separatists, and cult leaders spread across the Outer Rim, all vying for control over the Republic's territories and power. The key antagonists are yet to be fully revealed, but they are sure to be a threat to both the stability of the Republic and the unprotected worlds of the Outer Rim. Quantum Dream or Lucasfilm haven't detailed Star Wars Eclipse's gameplay mechanics yet, but they shared that the title will adhere to many of the action-adventure genre's traditional tropes. It's clear that Quantic Dream isn't looking to reinvent the wheel when it comes to the Star Wars title. While games like KOTOR operated on a turn-based system and there are numerous flight simulators like Squadrons or first-person shooters such as Battlefront to take inspiration from, Eclipse's gameplay is probably going to be closer to Jedi Survivor. However, solid lightsaber combat and unique shooter mechanics could easily elevate the title from the rest of the genre. Eclipse's trailer fails to truly detail any major plot points, nor is it clear which characters players will get to control. The focus is on ultimately establishing the setting and some of the factions that will likely be waging war. The cinematic trailer doesn't preview any gameplay, so there's still a lot of speculation as to what that will look like. The next trailer will probably come out sometime in the next year, as Quantic Dream will want to remind fans that their Star Wars project is still in development.